Hey guys, so we've been on the Sir Robert now for a day and came here yesterday. I'm in the bowsprit um, hammock, whatever you call this thing. We've had quite a day to here today. And yeah, getting to know the boat and the owners and the whole story behind it and getting a feel for it. There's a bit of a crew. Hi Pascal.
Hey,
Hi to the Discord community. How do you like the Sir Robert?
that's perfect. That's perfect.
And yeah, so I mean, much more to come in a coming update coming up. But we've had really beautiful coming together with some of the people who've come on the trip here. It's really been beautiful to connect as a team for the first time here with Sail the Stars, and outside of the whole Discord environment, and to actually be on the Sir Robert, this massive double-masted schooner that has crossed the Atlantic 7 times. Wow, I mean, so much to share about this boat. I mean, first impressions, it's just beautiful. It warms my heart. I mean, it can do everything outlined in our vision, everything that we've been looking for and hoping for. It's also quite daunting. It's a lot of boat. It's a lot of boat.
For over a year, we have been gathering together to form a crypto project unlike anything else before. The goal is to use NFTs to crowdfund a massive expedition sailing vessel, outfitted with all the right gear, and then invite a constant stream of artists, musicians, and amazing leaders from all over the planet to sail the world and co-create content that shifts people's lives, and to use the blockchain to tokenize the whole thing and share the value of the project with the world. Now, our wish list for the perfect vessel for the project seemed almost impossible. But now, through a series of synchronistic events, it looks like we may have just found our perfect vessel. And we're inviting everyone in our community to come take a look at it together. It's Antarctic and Arctic capable, so we can actually prove to the flat earthers whether the earth is flat or not. It's huge, epic, and majestic. It has enough autonomy to take us all over the world into the most secluded natural spaces. And through the freakish power of universal manifestation, it looks almost exactly like the NFTs we created to fund the entire adventure. Now, for some reasons, which you're about to discover, some people on the project think this is crazy, but this just might be the perfect boat that will allow us to turn our vision into reality. Dive into the Sail the Stars update to get the full story and let us know what you think.
Hey guys, welcome to another Sail the Stars update. It has been forever since we've done an update, and it feels like, there's been a lot of quiet time right now on the project, but believe me, a lot has been going on in the back burner and the back scenes. And so in this video, I want to update you first of all on what just happened on our Sir Robert trip. We found this incredible ship that has been on our radar for quite a while, and we finally went to go see this boat. And we had plans to go check this out, and everything was kind of falling into place, and it looked like we could actually sail it for a day and really get to see what it's like to feel it. Unfortunately, 2 days before the trip, we actually heard from the captain and his partner, and they said, sorry, unfortunately, we're just not going to be able to do it. Maybe you guys want to cancel or reschedule the trip. But everything kind of was already scheduled. The flights were booked for all of us from the team. And so we decided to, let's just go and check the boat out and see what it's like. It was actually moored up, and they were in the process of getting it ready for the season. And they just ran out of time because everything that's going on in the world. The crew couldn't come together and get the boat in ship shape in enough time. So it wasn't ready. But yeah, we went to check out the boat. So here's what happened. First of all, we finally, got to have the opportunity to come together. I had myself and my partner, Callie, and George, as many of you know, as Natural Work. We had Greg Feut there, Pascal and his partner, and this wonderful, wonderful man, Reynard from Germany, who drove all the way from Germany to meet us and check out this boat with us. An incredible man, beautiful heart, wonderful story, added so much to the trip. And he showed up, and we were there together, coming together to check out the boat and talk about Sail the Stars and how much the project has actually come forward. What's next? We got, it was so awesome to finally meet some of the key people in the project and some of the artists in the project. in person, to be there together. It really made this feel like a real mission, way more than anything over the past year. And yeah, we arrived on the first day on the boat and we had all kinds of plans, to shoot some awesome footage. But unfortunately, it started pouring rain quite quickly, but it was still an epic trip because we got onto this boat, guys. Like I said in one of my previous videos, since the very beginning, one of my main doubts or real questions was like, how do we make this work? Does a boat that we have envisioned, does the boat that we have envisioned for the project actually exist? Is this possible? Because we had really envisioned an expedition style cruiser that could have many people, that will allow all of us to share in the excitement and the joy and the challenge of sailing together, and for it to be safe and seaworthy, and for it to have soul, and all these things, all these requirements which I listed out in a previous video, and for it to have enough space for it to bring all the people that we want to bring, so that we can actually do what we envision to do, what our goal is, to bring together artists and musicians and entrepreneurs and visionaries, and to use the challenge of sailing to bring out of people their best and their worst, and to use that as a pressure cooker to create the most incredible content, to inspire people, to connect to nature, to believe in coming together again, to show people what's possible when people cooperate and challenge themselves to the max. And here we were, all of a sudden stepping onto this boat, which moment by moment revealed to me and to us that it could do all of those things. And I have to tell you, this was an insanely intimidating experience for me. We got on board, and right away we were met by Captain Karsten, who's this incredible man who we discovered, as you soon see, has built this boat himself from scratch some 30 or 35 years ago. He built this thing. This boat is him. You cannot get more intimate than that, building your own boat. And not just any boat. Who builds their own 135-foot old school style gaff rig? He right away got to explain the boat, showing us, on deck what it was like and telling a little bit of the story. His inspiration for this yacht was actually the old school traditional ships. He really loves old school traditional ships, and he's very inspired by that whole era during the American War. The ships of that era, and particularly the smaller schooners that were more nimble and fast and could outmaneuver their opponents. Anyway, to kind of back up a little bit, as I personally got on board and we started to get the tour of this boat, I was just struck by the majestic beauty of this boat and the soul of it and the spirit, guys. It was massive, but I was filled with positive emotion and also negative because it was quite daunting. And let me tell you why. On this trip, for me personally, it started to get really real. I was standing on the ship, and it's one thing to talk about a massive 130-foot schooner, and to actually stand on it, it was just massive. And I was looking over the horizon of the boat thinking, yeah, we're actually going to do this at one point. We're actually going to go cast off the lines. We got to close our laptops and like get into the ship and get real. And this is going out to sea. This is real physical stuff. There's risk involved here. There are lives involved here. There are people. This is why we're doing it, to just face that rawness of life together. There's work to be done here that is infinitely more challenging than what we have done so far. It's kind of like, you get to the base camp of Mount Everest and you're looking up at the freaking peak and you know what's involved and getting up there and the risks involved and all the stories you've heard of everybody actually, doing that in the past and what happened to them. Maybe not the best example. Sailing is not nearly as risky, but all of a sudden that kind of began to wash over me, and the adrenaline and the emotions of that. Yeah, it was a little bit daunting. And then I was also reminded, like, I've faced this before in my life. I've gone out, sailing, and there's that moment, where you dream of it and then you do it, and you're faced with that challenge, and shit goes wrong, and part of you wants to go home and like, why did I get into this? What am I doing? I just want to go home and be comfortable. Maybe I should just stay on land and grow tomatoes. But once you push through that, it's just blown open into an entire new world of flow and strength and the wonder of the present moment, the flow state, and the most rewarding thing that you can imagine. This is why I'm personally doing this. It's what drew me to it. So that began to wash over me, multiplied by 135 feet, because this is just a massive ship, guys. The boom itself is like a freaking tree. The main sail, the area of the main sail is as big as a tennis court. This is like, I don't know, like two and a half, 3 tennis courts put together. The words can't describe how big the ship feels, to me at least. So we got a tour of the boat. We heard a bit of the story. We went down into the boat after, and it started raining. So we just kind of took a look through it. And yeah, they were in the process of basically bringing the boat up to speed so it could be ready for the season. The sails hadn't been put up yet. A lot of the wood on deck was still being revarnished, redone, the benches. So the boat was kind of like being in the process of being a little bit disemboweled. So we got to see it as it is, which was very refreshing. And just walking through all the cabins from bow to stern, taking a look at the battery systems, and just getting as much as we could out of the trip. At one point, we actually went down to the engine room, which is really cool. You're like crawling down this ladder. It feels like you're going into a submarine. And the engine on this boat is still the original engine that Captain Karsten put in. It was as big as a Volkswagen Beetle, maybe a little bit larger, which is pretty huge. It's the size of a car. It's a massive, massive engine. And then it's got 2 backup generators and 2 dive compressors. We looked at also. At one point, Captain Karsten took us to another facility where we took a look at the dinghy, which can have 12 people on it. It's got its own, dinghy, and he's actually got 2 dinghies on board, just one big one and one smaller one that usually hangs off the divots off the end. We got also a look. I didn't take any video of this, but we went to another storage room where he showed us all the equipment they have on board that's usually on there, which it's just like turnkey. It has, I think, maybe like 25 wetsuits and all the equipment to like take 20 people scuba diving on the trip. All the different suits and different sizes. He's got all the scuba tanks, everything that we could possibly wish for, like turnkey, if we actually wanted to go with this boat and go in that direction. But anyway, the rest of our time on board was just sitting while it was raining, and the whole team kind of just sat around the table. You can see here, and we asked, Captain Karsten to tell us the story of the boat. And he brought out all these incredible books that, like, every single guest that has come on the ship has actually like taken tons of photos, and many of them have created these books sharing their experiences on the Sir Robert with him and his partner and the crew. And these were beautiful. We didn't have time to go through all of them, but what particularly interested me was seeing the picture books of how the boat was built. Captain Karsten actually, he bought a tugboat in Poland 30 years ago, and he stripped the boat down to its ribs, like took the whole boat apart except the ribs, and then rebuilt the whole boat from scratch to build this boat. He added the keel, he rebuilt the body, put up the masts, everything. This just floored me. I mean, the level of intimacy he has with this boat. He has designed and built, with the help of his naval architect friends, every single square inch of this boat. That is quite a feat. And the construction of the boat was just like pure beauty, and designed for simplicity and strength and reliability. This is pure German engineering construction, like at its best. Down like all the systems, the plumbing, everything was just super simple, very neatly laid out. And quite recently, the whole boat got totally rehauled. The whole hull of the boat was rebuilt, and a lot of the plumbing systems in the center of the boat, all the tanks, the water tanks, everything was just redone. So the boat is just turnkey. and ready to go. And we were looking through these pictures and just feeling all the events and all the memories that have happened on this boat. And this has been his life, this boat. It was just such an intimate thing. And I started to just feel like what it would be like to be on this boat. Would this be the boat for Sail the Stars? Could this take us to where we want to go? Thinking of all the wonderful experiences that we could have on this. I mean, this could literally fit the bill for everything we have imagined and so much more, so much more. We could go anywhere with it. The Arctic, Antarctica. We could, pull up to beautiful places, in the most unimaginably beautiful, isolated nature in the whole world, and take ourselves there and have the autonomy to be there for months with the storage on board, with all the room on board, with the tankage on board for fresh water, for fuel. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, after that, we went back up, took a bit more photos, had some time together. We actually recreated this scene from one of the storyboard pictures, of doing the huddle with the boat in the background. It was really, really fun to finally like turn that into reality. We had a lot of fun coming together and just joining together as a team and talking about this dream and putting it forward. And actually the next day, George, Natural Warp, and myself and Reynard, we stayed to help Captain Karsten and his crew member put up the mainsail on the ship, because he was in the process of lifting up all the sails that were in storage out of the boat with the crane and actually mounting them on the booms so the boat could get ready to sail in a couple of weeks. And typically this is like a pretty short process with the mainsail. Okay, it doesn't last that long with the modern boats. You could put up a sail like maybe 45 minutes to an hour, depending, how many people you have. It took 4 people, or later like 3, because George had to catch a flight, but it took us 4.5 hours to get this sail on. The job was just massive. Boom, everything, and mounting it on and everything is just super manual. You're not using any winches. There's no snap to system. This is just old school stuff, tying things to the boom using massive cleats and clamps to like get this thing on. And like normally when you have like a sail going up a mast, there's usually like a rail, and like the sail just is all manufactured to slide into that, and it's all modern and nice. This is just very simple. It's just the ropes and wooden little blocks that like keep it attached to the mast. It's quite remarkable. It's just at that point, the intimidation with the ship kind of began to simmer down for me, and I just started to fall in love with this vessel. And I kind of felt sad because I had to catch a flight that afternoon with my partner. I felt really sad leaving the boat, because working on her for 4.5 hours just started to give me the feel of what this boat actually was about. And it was just not enough time to absorb this whole vessel and the soul of her. But I can tell you this, it started to speak to me. I started to hear her soul, and I really, really liked it, despite still feeling intimidated by the size of the vessel. It was a lot to take in. This is like, the feeling was like being on a mammoth. Okay, most of the sailboats I've captained, like up to 50 feet, it's like being on a stallion, and you're like, okay, cool, I got this. I can figure this out with the help of like 1 or 2 people. Being on the Sir Robert was just like being on a mammoth, like one of those mammoths from Lord of the Rings. That scene where they're riding these things. It's like this huge mammoth, and you just know it could take you anywhere in the world and keep you and your family safe. And if you treat it well with respect, then it would take care of you. And I can tell you, like, no other boat I've been on has commanded this much level of respect. This is a boat for kings and queens. That's the feeling I got on it. It was just so huge, so well designed, so strong. Like I can't imagine the feeling of like being on it under full sail and a good breeze of wind. It would probably be the most epic experience ever, just holding the wheel and having that much raw power under your redirection. I'm just saying, not underneath your command, because you never command the wind. You can redirect your sails around it. What an experience. So yeah, I was sitting with all those feelings, and it was really, really cool to just have a lot of things confirmed. Also, one of the reasons we were looking at the Sir Robert was because one of our goals is to keep our expenses as minimal as we can, so we can run this operation um, and keep it going. And the hardest, most challenging part about sailing is the financial aspect. With most modern boats this size, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars of yearly expenses. That's usually including crew. And because most modern boats, there's a lot of shit that breaks. There's a lot of refits that need to do, parts not up to date, things that you just need to like most modern boats, luxury cruisers like this size are designed for luxury, right? This boat is designed to go far, far, far away, to keep you safe and to have minimal expenses and minimal shit that breaks, because just like nothing mechanical on it, no winches. I asked at one point Captain Karsten, like I pointed at one of these wooden blocks, with like 4 lines through it, and managing one of the lines. I was like, how old is this thing? He's like, well, that's the original. It's about 35 years old. I was like, what? Yeah, it's 35 years old. Yeah, we have to repaint them and take care of them at one point, revarnish them. But this stuff lasts forever if you take care of it well. So that was mind blowing for me. Like if you look at any boat that's 35 years old, try to find one thing on there that's like the original. I mean, yeah, you can find boats like that, but usually those are the things you have to replace. On this boat, the stuff that was there 35 years ago, most of it is still there. As far as the rigging, the rigging that doesn't have to be constantly replaced. So, and I actually asked Captain Karsten at one point, like what his expenses were per year for this boat, and they were remarkably low. I'm not going to share it because I'm sure that's a little bit private information, but let's just say that it's well within our range to make this a reality. So that was pretty much the trip in a nutshell. After that, we went home. I caught my flight, and again, walking away from the ship and looking at it on the deck, it was sad to leave it because it was too short of a time to really absorb all of it and what it could mean. In any case, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video. My main message that I want to share with you here and what I wanted to deliver in this video is just sharing with you some of the footage from here, some of the pictures. We did the very best with the time we had and the change of plans. And it's definitely not by any measure the what we're actually going to be doing when we're actually sailing. That's going to be a whole other level. And thank you so much, Pascal, for taking the footage. And the main takeaway from this trip is what we're envisioning is entirely possible. It is so freaking possible, and ships like this actually exist. And this is the level that it's at. And my conclusion on the Sir Robert right now is it the ship for us? I don't know, but it fits every single checkbox. And as far as I'm concerned, this is like at the top of the list of what we could wish for in our crowdfund and everything we're doing. So if we're going to end up with a Sir Robert, I don't know, because obviously it's down to the finances, and that's a very huge leap for us. So it's going to take all of us on deck working together to actually make this dream a reality. But this is entirely possible, and this ship is absolutely epic. So thanks so much for watching, and see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, then come check out what we're up to at sailtostars.com. We're using NFT art and cryptocurrency to crowdfund a massive sailboat, install satellite internet on it and virtual reality cameras, and then we're inviting epic people from all over the world to come sailing and use the challenge of sailing to co-create art and messages that inspire people to greatness and help co-create the new Earth together. Kind of like TED Talks, except with orcas, dolphins, and tons of celebration of life, and everyone can own a piece of it through NFTs. So if you'd love to be involved, come sign up for our newsletter and join us in a Discord. We'd love to have you aboard. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.